supposed to promote good, and we supposed to stand up with good, and we are supposed to stand up, not just speak out against it. We are supposed to stand up against those things that are corrupt. The guiding principle for the behavior of the Muslims is virtuous deed. So look, let's wrap this up. If there is no good amal, if there is no good works, then we are living a vicarious life of words without actions. And that's not what the Quran says. Allah says, those who do righteous good deeds, right? Righteous good deeds. So righteousness is a characteristic for the Muslim. Point blank. There is no in between. Righteousness is a God-given right for us, and it's also a flag that we have to wave. Now, listen to this in the Quran. Ya bunyan, innaha inna takun mithqala habatin min qaradalin fa'takun fi shakratin aw fi as-samati wal fi al-ard yati biha Allahu inna laha latifun khabirun. This is from Surah Luqman, where he's talking to his son. And he said, "O my son, if there be but a weight of a mustard seed, and it were hidden in a rock, or anywhere in the heavens or the earth, Allah will bring it forth. For Allah understands the finest mysteries, and is all acquainted with them." So in the very next ayat, Allah Ta'ala says that Luqman said to his son, Ya bunya, Akima as-salat wa murbil ma'ruf wa anha anni al-munkar wa as-sabr ala ma as-sabaka inna dhalika min azmi al-umuri. O my son, establish regular prayer and enjoy what is just and forbid what is wrong. And bear with patience and constancy whatever betide thee or whatever befalls you, for this is firmness of purpose in conduct of all affairs. Now, in conclusion, because we got to bring this home for us. Remember, we said that in order for us to practice or to hold society to account, we have to first hold each other to account and practice. I shouldn't even say practice. You know, we've been practicing Islam for a long time. Sound like AI, right? We're talking about practice. Not a game, practice. No, we need to stop practicing. You know, if we talk about Quran and Sunnah very hard. But I guarantee you that if we said we was going to implement Sharia and the hudud, it would be very few brothers up in here. I might be one of them. But because the human being, because of this amoralist society of doing your own thing, nobody wants to be held accountable. And nobody wants to be told what to do. So this is a dilemma in the heart. That's why we read the ayat that Allah Ta'ala says, whether it is the weight of a mustard seed in your heart, Allah Ta'ala will bring it forth. So in our minds, we have to realize that Allah Ta'ala knows what's in this heart. And that we can try to fake and delude and deprive each other of rights and of good behavior, but Allah Ta'ala knows what's in all of our hearts. All of us. Now, do that bring upon fear, or does that bring upon consciousness that I have to practice what I preach? So in order for us to be outside in society, to be calling people to the deen, because that's one of the things that we like to do, right? We want to call people to Islam. So in order to call people to Islam, what are you calling them to? Are you calling them to your understanding of Islam, or are you calling them to the Islam that Allah Ta'ala gave Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his Quran? And are you living, not practicing, living what you say? That goes for all of us. So these are the conclusions that we have to come to, Day Kwan. Lastly, Allah Ta'ala says, and be moderate in thy pace, and lower thy voice. Again, for the harshest of sounds without doubt is the braying of an ass. A Muslim should not be vain or attached to the inferior pleasures of this world. Listen to this. While most people allow the material world to fill their hearts, Muslims should keep Allah in their hearts and the material world in their hand. We should keep Allah in our hearts and the material world in our hand. Instead of being attached to a car and a job and a diploma and a bank account, all of these things become tools to make us better people in the giving and the remembrance of society. So, dear beloved Muslims, without any ambiguity, if there is no good works, if there is no practice of those good works, if there is no living of those good works, if we stop lying and saying we want for our brother and sister what we want for ourselves, because that's a lie that we have to turn into haqq, into truth. Until we get to that particular point, we have to be very careful about, one, backbiting each other, two, calling people kafirs that you haven't spoken to, and three, think that you got it on the ball because mushriks associate partners with Allah. Maybe they just don't know better, but you associate yourself with Allah and you follow your own desires. May Allah Ta'ala forgive us all our shortcomings and our sins, have mercy on our souls in this life and in the hereafter. May Allah Ta'ala give victory to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah Ta'ala forgive the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah Ta'ala protect the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah Ta'ala seal our hearts with Iman. May Allah Ta'ala save us from the fire. May Allah Ta'ala save us from a tight grave. أقول هذا واستغفر الله وعليكم الحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Dear Muslims, in conclusion, I brought this subject to our point because, as some of you may be paying attention, there are some of us here that are working very hard to change the atmosphere and the environment of the masjid. And we are working very hard, some of us, to utilize everyone that has talent or everyone that has something to contribute to the masjid. with that comes obligations of good character. And with that comes obligation that we are going to adhere to certain things that are given, not just from myself, but from leadership within the masjid. So we have decided that we are going to establish a SOP. Some of you in corporate, y'all know what SOPs are. SOPs are standing operating procedures. So anytime that you go on a job, there's already a thing or book for you that you know what the do's and don'ts are. So this masjid, inshallah ta'ala, with the help of those other people in leadership and teachers and so forth, we are going to establish a standard procedures for this masjid. And that goes from nikahs, divorces. If a brother running from the pole and he run up in here, what we gonna do? If a brother's getting pistol whipped by his wife, what we gonna say? You know, some of y'all got some hard vibes, right? She might pull the pistol out on you. Brother that may be, or sister, that may be abusing their children. The establishment of the muezzin, the establishment of the assistant imam, all of these things. This should be standard within this masjid. And it will be according to Quran and Sunnah. And also what is beneficial to this masjid within those confines of Quran and Sunnah. So we can move forward as a productive masjid as Allah Ta'ala is blessing us with not only the possibility but the plausibility of building this new masjid. We cannot carry the same type of behaviors and attitudes that we had in the past. The past is the past. And the old people down south used to say, if you know better, you do better. And for those critics that say, you know, this is going on in the masjid and that is going on in the masjid, how do you know? You don't come. Most of the time when we see each other, we only see each other for about 35, 40 minutes at Jumuaa. And the same families come out to family night or those functions that we have within the masjid. And then the critics say, well, there's nothing going on in the masjid. You know why things can go on? Sloppy stuff can go on in the masjid. The first and foremost thing, and let's be real about it, there's a disrespect for leadership. I don't care whether it was me or somebody else. Anytime that you circumvent the people of leadership within the masjid, whether it's the imam, whether it's the emir, whether it's the treasurer, whether it's the secretary, whether it's a board member, you have no respect for leadership. And if you have no respect for leadership, you are totally disobeying Allah. Because Allah Ta'ala says, وَأَتِيُوا اللَّهَ وَأَتِيُوا Rasul. Right? Obey Allah and His Messenger and what? Those who are in authority over you. But, you know, that's why I said earlier, if we was to implement Sharia, half of us wouldn't be here, because some of y'all, if you tell the truth, just tell the truth. It's all right, you ain't gonna hurt my feelings. That's what you gotta go to Allah Ta'ala for. You don't see me as an authority figure. You don't see me that way. That's just another black man standing up there screaming at me. I'm sorry, my voice loud. That's just the way Allah gave it to me. Maybe I needed my mother to hear. Maybe she was hard of hearing. I had to have big lungs. But you don't see me that way. So, since you don't see me that way, there's no need to come to me or listen to me. MashaAllah, again, that is something that you have to deal with. So now, that's why we spoke about the difference between a moralist and one who has morality. In conclusion, I haven't told this story in a while, so I'm going to tell this story. It's a real short story. I know some of y'all gotta get back to the job. I ain't gonna hold you. There was a man that was a very, let's say, sinful man. And every time he committed a sin, he would write it down in his book. So one day, he saw this young sister. And he said to himself, this is one of the most beautiful sisters I ever seen in my life. You know how y'all get. You know how we get. Hey! You know, the first look, the Prophet ﷺ said is for us, right? The second look is for shaitan. So you see a sister, you say, wow, you put your head down. Then you got to get that second look. And as she walking away, you be like, right? You just still staring at her, right? That's totally shaitan, right? But anyway, so this brother saw this sister, and he said she was the most beautiful sister he ever seen in his life. So he was enticed by her, so he called to the sister. You know, he wanted to get with the sister. But he saw from a distance as she was walking towards him, she was shaking. But I thought she would probably agree to satisfy my sexual desires for money. So he was going to give her some faloof for it. She approached me, and she had a great deal, he said, a great deal of trepidation. In other words, she was totally afraid of approaching this dude. So he said, because she was shaking so hard and he saw the fear in her eyes, he said, I'm not going to harm you. And he started to feel sorry for her. So he asked her, what's going on? What's up? Why are you out here? She said, by Allah, never before this day have I ever done anything like this. My need as a mother of 3 children without a husband have not eaten any food for 3 days. And I have no money and no family. So my desire to feed my children brought me to this particular plight. And it is a very low point in my life, and may Allah forgive me. The brother turns around, he hears the story, and he said, for the first time in my life, I ever felt pity or sorrow for someone. So instead of taking advantage of her, he went home, pulled some money, got some clothes and some food, and took it to her house. He was so taken aback by this and his feeling of trying to help this woman instead of taking advantage of this woman, he went home and told his mother. And he said, Ummi, you know I keep this book in my room where I write down all of my bad deeds. And she said to me, his mother said to me, you are a man, you are my child, and you are a man that never committed one good deed from the day you was born. Can you imagine your mother telling you something like that? So I know that you have this book that you keep your evil sins in. So go write down this good deed in your book. So the brother took his mother's advice and he went to his book of batil, his book of bad deeds. And when he opened the book, all of the things that he written before was gone. Allah erased everything that he written down because of this one good deed. On the next day, he returned to Allah, and Allah gave him Jannah Firdaus. Dear beloved Muslims, we are a people that never give up hope. We are a people that always have hope in Allah's mercy and His shade. And if we can remember that no matter how